It's Yeshiva week. A lot of guys are away with their children. Um, okay, but thank you for showing up. That's half the battle. Uh, Mincha today will be at 4:50. Tomorrow morning we're davening at 6:10, 6:50, and 7:50. Now for a quick Devar Torah. Um, this week's parsha is B'Shlach, and of course it's what happens when we leave Egypt. And it starts off that Hashem could have taken the Jews straight to Eretz Israel, but decided not to, because the first thing would happen is the Jews would face the Pelishtim, they'd have a battle, and they would run away back to Egypt. Remember, the Jews still had a slave mentality. They still are. This is the generation. They were slaves, so the mentality is that of slaves. So if anything gets rough, they would automatically run back. And we see this refrain over and over in the rest of the Sefer Shemot, and also in Devarim, etc., where whenever anything gets rough, what do the Jews say? Oh, we had it so good in Egypt. What, there are not enough graves in Egypt? You had to bring us out here to die? In other words, their initial reaction is, oh my gosh, it's going to get rough. And this has to be broken. You know, much like when Patrick Henry, if you know your American history, said, give me liberty or give me death. The Jews were saying, give me slavery, but don't give me death at this point in their history, of our history. That Hashem has to break, Moshe and Hashem, Hashem is using Moshe to break the chains of slavery, the mental chains. And this is why, just before we left Egypt, you have these whole long things. You have to make the new month. You have to have the Korban Pesach. We have the whole story of when your son asks you what happened. Moshe is preparing the groundwork. You were slaves in Egypt. Hashem took you out of slavery. He took us out not just to be free. That's relatively easy. But to have a purpose, to have a national purpose. The national purpose was to receive the Torah and then live a good life. It's just something that was pointed out to me yesterday through David Israel. Those of you who know him, he pointed out that, you know, we talk about moonlight. You know, when we declare Rosh Chodesh, or the new month, it depends on the moon. We talk about when the full moon, we have moonlight. Well, the moon doesn't make light. The moon reflects the sun's light. And that's the way that what Moshe is trying to get across to the Jewish people is we are reflecting God's light by doing the mitzvot. And getting out of Egypt, you know, so like Moshe has to say, look at, you know, I know these people. I have to treat them and get them to become independent, to have a new mentality. And that's basically what is happening by not taking us directly to Eretz Israel, but by making the detour, and so that we can build up the people from the inside, so that by the end of the journey, we will be independent, not just physically, but mentally. We'll have lost that slave mentality. So that's something to think about.